Vegan Vision New York chapter. Second program of the World Vision Vegan New York chapter. After very first successful Holy program, this is the second program. Now I would like to invite a wonderful person, nice human being, a hard-working president of World Vegan Vision, Suman Munjal, to say a few words. Go ahead,
Thank
Suman.
you. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Ah. Respected HKG, Maltiji, Chandraji, KKG, and all executive committee members and community leaders, guests, as a president of World Vegan Vision, I welcome you all to our second program of World Vegan Vision. As I told you right in the beginning of my presidency, that my vision is to expand the veganism to as many people as possible. This is because I personally experienced enormous health benefits of becoming vegan. I controlled my diabetes and cholesterol and vegan diet despite reducing my diabetes medicine. I want to encourage others to become vegan, not for long, but for 3 weeks only, and experience the benefits of themselves. Many people feel that it is difficult to leave dairy products like milk, yogurt, butter, cheese, ghee. There are now a variety of availability of vegan food, cookies, almond milk, coconut milk, etc. And so are various delicious recipes. Also, if anybody is interested, there is an 8-week webinar series on fight diabetes with food going on Zoom in India every Friday between 11:30 to 12:30. That will surely help you to convert into vegan. Please let me know who is interested and we will give the link to them. Today, we have brought three very renowned vegan speakers to speak on veganism and its benefits and the variety of vegan foods. Before that, I would like to invite HKG to say a few words. HKG, please, you can say a few words.
Yeah.
Unmute yourself. Yeah.
We are always welcome on 29th year anniversary of this group. I am very thankful to all my colleagues, committee members who have been very active for last 29 years, both in New York and New Jersey. And I hope we'll progress more and more in coming years. Due to COVID, we could not make much progress in last year, but now we'll move forward by the end of this year. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you. Now I invite my husband, Mr. Govind Munjal, to introduce the speaker.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, everybody, at this webinar for Foods for Mind, Body, and Soul. We would now go ahead with the main program. We have three renowned speakers, and I would like to introduce our first guest speaker, which is Dr. Shanik Shah. Dr. Shanik Shah is a practicing internist for the last 35 years. He is vegan for the last 21 years. And of course, he is the president of our World Vegan Vision New Jersey chapter. He has helped so many patients improving their heart disease, diabetes, and obesity through vegan diet. Also, he is in yoga, meditation, and have a spiritual site, www.practicalspirituallife.org. Now, it's my honor and privilege to present to you Dr. Shanik Shah.
Okay.
Please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, Vitalji. It's really my great pleasure to really do this honor in the name of veganism, which has been my passion for so many years. And passion has become really contagious, and I have been able to extend it to not just friends and families, but also a lot of my patients. And I have seen a lot of my first hand results, which have been really wonderful and encouraging So it just gives me more and more boost to spread more and more. I'm gonna share my screen so that we can get on to the presentation. Start with first slide. Okay. So,
Please, everybody else, please mute yourself.
I think it would be better if you can mute everything. Cannot create a lot of disturbance. Okay, so I'm gonna start food for mind, body, and soul. It's my clinical experience because it has been my life for many years. As Gopalji introduced myself, and I've been practicing 35 plus years internal medicine. I've been vegan for 20 plus years, and I have been on a whole food plant-based diet for 12 plus years, which is really a major step above even the veganism, which I'll come to a little later. And I've been recommending a vegan lifestyle to many of my patients. Let's get some facts cleared up. Let me just clear out these windows at least. Just 1 second. Okay, so vegetarian diet, as we all know, it does not include meat, fish, poultry, but you can have products like dairy, eggs, honey. But in vegan diet, there are no animal foods or products, but concentrated carbs, sugary drinks, oils, fried foods, etc., are allowed theoretically as long as there is no animal or animal products. But the next step above is a whole food plant-based diet, which contains only whole grains, leafy vegetables, fruits, nuts, legumes, and things like that. So, but no added oils or salt or sugar. So let's start with that basic understanding. Why? The question is, why should we be vegan? And why whole food plant-based diet? So let's look into that. Right now, as we speak, India accounts for about 60% of the world's heart disease burden, despite having only 20% of the world population. Why? So there is something wrong somewhere. If you look at the heart disease, even in United States, if you look at it, one person dies every 36 seconds from the heart disease. That means 1 in 4 deaths comprises of the heart disease. And the heart disease costs United States about $219 billion every year, according to the CDC data. But there are certain parts of the world you don't find any heart disease, like Central Africa, Papua New Guinea, rural China, Okinawa. You go to these places, and if you have a sign saying that I am a cardiologist, you will be starving to death because there is no heart disease there. So there is some major discrepancy. These are human beings, we are human beings. So there is something wrong in our atmosphere, food atmosphere, environment, our eating habits. If you look at the diabetes, the same thing, staggering cost, we are really incurring $327 billion annual cost. So between heart disease and diabetes, we are like $550 billion we're spending. There is something wrong, but all these things, or majority of this, can be prevented, cured, and we can live much more healthier life if we can just pay attention to our nutrition and health. Diabetes, we already know, has a lot of complications: diabetic retinopathy, diabetic nephropathy, kidney disease, heart disease, strokes. All these things are very common in diabetics. And one more side effect has been added, unfortunately, is dementia. Just the latest report just came out on April 27th in JAMA. Eating sugar and refined carbs can cause pre-dementia and dementia. So sugar and refined carbs are adding an addition of a healthy fat like avocados and nuts and things like that can not only just prevent, even reverse pre-dementia and early dementia. So they say that people who have a diabetes more than 10 years of duration, there is a 4-fold risk of developing Alzheimer's. So we really this is eye opener. We need to really focus on our diet. And I'm glad we have very interested audience over here. So main causes of heart disease, if you really look at it, is a high cholesterol, of course, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, hypertension, obesity, smoking. Out of that, my interest is mainly falls on cholesterol because I have seen major results on it. So what is cholesterol? If you really ask this question to 100 people, I would guarantee you will get only one or two, if you're lucky, correct answer. Even if you ask to the doctors, I bet, unfortunately, med schools do not really focus on nutrition education. Even doctors fail when I ask them questions. In my practice, for all these years that I've been recommending veganism, I had only two kids actually came and gave me the right answer, and both were biology students. So it was very interesting. So what is cholesterol? Everybody says, yeah, cholesterol is fat. It clogs your arteries. I said, yeah, we know what it does. Why do we have cholesterol in our body? What does it do? And everybody's clueless. He says, I don't know. You tell me. So let's look at it. What is cholesterol? Cholesterol is an organic molecule. It is a sterol. It's a type of lipid molecule. It's a fat. It is biosynthesized by all animal cells. This is the most critical part you have to understand. All animal cells, because it is an essential structural component of all animal cell membranes. What does that mean? That means every cell in our body has a cell wall that's made out of cholesterol. That makes cholesterol one of the most important substances in our body, because our body is all about making new cells, dropping old cells, and that's how we get older until we reach 80, 90, 100. You cannot make any more cells anymore, so you die. Simple as that. So right from the birth till the death, our life cycle revolves around cholesterol. So cholesterol is very important, no question about it, but our body knows how to make it. So that is the problem. Supposing if somebody wants to kill someone, for example, that's the world's worst poison will be to give a pill that brings your cholesterol to zero. Then you die because you cannot make new cells anymore overnight. So that's how powerful the cholesterol is. The problem is every animal's body is made out of cholesterol. Every animal, whether you take beef or chicken or fish or animals or like snakes or goats or anything, every animal's blood you draw will have a cholesterol in it. So what does it mean? That means every time you drink meat, milk, or eat cheese or butter, your yogurt or ghee, you are consuming cholesterol. Every time you eat meat, chicken, fish, including chicken and fish, no matter how much they have been touted as some of the better meats and things like that, it's wrong. They all are full of cholesterol. So by doing this, you're adding cholesterol to your body, which is already knows how to make it. Then that's what causes the burden of the heart disease and other diseases in the body. So we really have to understand the animal kingdom means cholesterol versus the plant kingdom, zero cholesterol, which I'll come to that a little later. So cholesterol, we have two sources, one which is manufactured in our liver and another which comes from the food. Obviously, what is made in the liver, we have no control. Liver knows how much to make it, except some familial hyperlipidemia cases where they overproduce cholesterol. That's a separate issue. But the food is controllable and changeable. That can reduce your cholesterol significantly, which I'll have a lot of evidence showing that. So animal foods clog your arteries. Animal foods causes the high cholesterol, clog your arteries. That's how it leads to heart attack. So animal foods not just causes the high cholesterol, but it's been linked to coronary artery disease, obesity, because again, cholesterol is fat. So by consuming more animal products, which has no fiber, you're gonna be gaining a lot of weight. And then of course, people become obese, and then obesity has been linked to cancers, psychological disorders, diabetes, neurological disorders, and cancers. So all these things, there is a lot of evidence has been connected with animal foods. So of course, we know most of the audience here are vegetarians. So, but still to complete the picture, yes, one steak will give you 149 milligrams of cholesterol. And even half a fillet of salmon gives you 112 milligrams of cholesterol. And when I tell this to people, they say, Doc, we thought fish is healthy. Again, we live in a society where there is a lot of brainwash going on without any care for person's health. A lot of recommendations come and people follow that. Unfortunately, they succumb to a lot of diseases which they did not have to. Even the fish oil, that's people have been told that, yes, fish oil is very good for the heart. The whole study came from the Eskimos because they were eating fish and they had a very little amount of heart disease, but not knowing that their heart disease minimization because of the overactivity and the harsh environment they live in. 1 teaspoonful of fish oil even will give you 104 milligrams of cholesterol. So when I show this to people and they say, Doc, I can't believe that. I thought I was taking it for my health. I said, no, even that is adding cholesterol in your body. And of course, next, the main topic of discussion for vegetarians is the milk. 1 cup of milk gives you 24 milligrams of cholesterol. But come to the next one is a whopping 1 cup of cheese gives you 256 milligrams of cholesterol. Cheese was one of the worst invention of human society because 1 cup of cheese equals to 10 cups of whole milk. Is literally killing the human society. And of course, the yogurt, again, 24 milligrams. Ghee, no matter how much Ayurveda says, ghee also contributes to the cholesterol. 1 egg, just 1 egg gives you 187 milligrams of cholesterol. And a lot of times we eat foods in restaurants and all that, all these eggs are hidden, we don't even know. But on the other side, if you go on to the plant-based diet, there is 0 cholesterol because every cell in the plant kingdom has a cell wall which is made out of cellulose. Cellulose is fiber. There is no cholesterol. You can Google any of the foods you choose from the plant side. And a lot of people have misbeliefs that, oh, cashews are high in cholesterol, or almonds are high in cholesterol. It's totally wrong. You Google it, 0 cholesterol. You cannot have cholesterol if you're growing on a plant. So there is basically, this is how the life has evolved on the earth, that all the animals are cholesterol derived and all plants are cellulose derived. There is a watertight compartment, which a lot of people don't know that. And this again, why the plants have 0 cholesterol, because they are made out of cellulose. Cellulose is like an insoluble in the water. So it works by going through your intestine and expanding. That's how it gives you bulk to your stools. So there are a lot of advantages, and plus all of them have a 0 cholesterol. So this slide is a little complicated, but it's very important. So just pay attention to what I'm saying, because when you eat the food which is high in fiber, it rubs against your inner lining of your intestines. And when it rubs, because it's rough in nature, it scrubs out all the front cells which are dying, and it allows the healthy cells to come in the front. The dying cells have a tendency to develop oncogenes. Oncogenes are the genes on the surface of the cells, which has tendency to create cancer. That's why foods which are high in fiber are known to reduce the risk of cancer. And at the same time, animal foods have been linked with a lot of cancers. Colon cancers and multiple cancers are linked with the animal food. So now one advantage is, of course, that yes, it scrubs out all the dying cells, brings the healthy cells which can fight against the toxins and everything. But also remember, every cell that is shedding has a cell wall made out of cholesterol. Now, the cells fall normally anyway. They go to the large intestine, and the large intestines reabsorb it because it does not want to let go the cholesterol to waste, because cholesterol is very important. But what fiber does, it not only scrubs, but it works like a sponge and holds on to these cells. So when you move your bowels, it takes it out with it. So every time these cells are taken out, your cholesterol goes down, actually. So fiber not only doesn't give you cholesterol, but it actually reduces your cholesterol. That's why oatmeal, the Quaker Oats, they advertise that we reduce cholesterol by 15%, and they're right. So this is how switching from the animal foods to the plant-based diet, there is a major advantage. Of course, there are other benefits which we can go into details later on, since we have a lot of slides to cover, but it improves the gut microbiomes. And I think Kalindiben and Dr. Moise will be touch on more on this. It reduces the constipation, reduces your sugar, and all those things, reduces the detox from chemicals. Interesting fact is, like, if somebody takes a poison, right, they end up in the emergency room. Do you know what they do? What they gave to them? Activated charcoal. What is activated charcoal? It's a tree bark. Tree bark is fiber, cellulose. So cellulose, the fiber has a tendency to absorb the toxins. So people have acidity, and toxins are always present in our plants and all that. Whatever food we eat, that can be also absorbed by the fiber. So that is definitely beneficial. Milk, also, there is a significant link between milk and type 2 diabetes, because milk sugar is called lactose. 40% of the calories of the milk is constituted by lactose. And lactose is sugar. And lactose is broken up by the enzyme called lactase into glucose and galactose. Glucose go into the sugar, galactose go into the liver, but it's readily available anytime you need the sugar. So it's basically sugar. So 40% of the milk's calorie goes towards sugar. So that's why there is a lot of connection between milk and diabetes, which wasn't known before. So of course, the sugars we need to go down, like because of all the things we talked about. There are some obvious sugars we already know, like of course, sugary foods and sugar-filled cereals. Cereals have been so touted as very, very healthy alternatives for breakfast, but that's really not true. For a full of carbohydrates, full of sugars, and ultimately are responsible for leading towards diabetes and heart disease. But the hidden sugars, a lot of people don't think about it. Roti, we think roti is our day-to-day food. Wrong. One roti gives you 6.5 teaspoonful of sugar. One bakri, which is made, which is a thicker, the dough, 13 teaspoonful of sugar. 1 cup of rice, 18 teaspoonful of sugar. This is where hidden sugars are coming. This is where Gujaratis and Indians really suffer because of the roti and rice, and all those things are very common in our day-to-day cuisine. One bajri roti is almost equivalent to wheat, again, 6.5 teaspoons of sugar. So all these things lead to obesity, and obesity is caused by 2 things, concentrated carbs and the oils. And as the obesity goes up, all the diseases also start multiplying. So what happens normally, insulin, what it does, it does reduce, it opens up the glucose channel in your cell and allows the sugar in your blood to go into the cell so cells can utilize it. So the insulin is very key, very important. But when you gain a lot of weight, what happens is, first you have simple cells, but then you have obesity. At that time, the insulin cannot work. And then you develop what we call insulin resistance. So the sugar has to stay behind because there is so much fat. So the cell says, no, we have to use the fat first. The sugar has to stay behind. So that's how with the insulin resistance you develop. So what is the answer? And again, I'm going quick because of the time concern and all that, but I'll just want to make it a point what I have done in my practice and recommended people what to do about all these things. So the answer is whole food plant-based diet. A lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, salads, cruciferous vegetables, everything with full of fiber. All these things are very healthy. And with a little practice, you can develop the taste for it. And the joy that you develop by eating the raw food is really wonderful. But that's not all. There are other options available. And I'll just mention the importance of the fruits. Like if you eat blueberries, grapes, and apples, there were some studies done in British Medical Journal. It showed it reduces your risk of type 2 diabetes. But if you drink fruit juices, which is only sugar and not the fiber, again, increases the risk. Again, there was in circulation in March 2021, just recently, they said the 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day will reduce the risk of cancer, cardiovascular disease, and even the respiratory disease along with diabetes. So a lot of fruits, green leafy vegetables, yellow vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, they are tremendous powerhouses to reduce our diseases burden in the society. And still the question goes back to, people will ask, what about our roti and rice? What do we do? So there are some options available. One option is you can have a whole grain roti. Whole grains is high fiber, so that's one option. But this is where my invention comes in. This is what I have recommended to people because it removes the carbohydrate and it replaces with the mung flour, which is very innovative because even I didn't realize until I really was looking at the Trader Joe's, they have this sprout bean breads and things like that. And I said, why can't we sprout beans? So we can have a mung flour. So I experimented first on myself when we combined like 30% mung flour, 30% chickpeas flours with chana besan, basically, and then 40% almond flour. So I did it myself. I didn't have sugar, but at least it was palatable, eatable. And then I threw it out into the patient's population. And the results started coming wonderful, which I'll share you a little later. Also, quinoa can be used. You can grind quinoa and make a fresh flour, and it comes out pretty much just like a wheat roti. So, and it can even puff it, like Gujaratis, they like puff fulka. So it can be done. And one of my patients actually suggested. So this is how we all grow, suggestion from each other. And this is really take us on a path of healthier life. Quinoa is very rice. Quinoa also can be used as rice, which I've been doing it, and very nutritious, very high in fiber. It's gluten-free, very high in protein because it has 11 amino acids. It's considered a complete meal because no other food actually has 11 amino acids, but it does. And it's a very low glycemic index, which does not raise your sugar. So quinoa can be utilized as rice, your own rice. So now I'm going to show you some actual patient results. This one patient came to me with 270 cholesterol and 162 LDL, which is the main concern that we have. She had gone to 2-3 doctors and endocrinologists, and she wanted to reduce her cholesterol, but she did not want to take the pill. She drove 3.5 hours to come see me. And I said, all right, I took care of her bronchitis that she came in for, but she mentioned, I said, all right, well, then you came to a different doctor. I'm not gonna put you on a pill. I'll just ask you one question. If you try to catch something, and it runs away, what would you do? So 99% of the people gives me one answer that we will run after. But she was smart. She said, okay, I will let it go. So she got the message that animals have legs. They're trying to run away to save their life. Plants don't have legs. There is some hidden message behind it. Eat plant-based diet. And she did. She did in 8 weeks, came down by 6 pounds, and look at the cholesterol, tremendous drop. And she somehow knew some language. She texted me, Dhanyavad, Shukriya, thank you. My cholesterol has reduced by 105 points in 6 weeks. Thanks for your wisdom and great advice. So this was my index patient, actually. That's when this was many years back, 10 years, 11 years back, and I developed tremendous confidence in the plant-based diet. And the second guy came in, the black guy, it was significantly overweight, and with, again, he was diabetic, and like 250 cholesterol, and then 179 bad cholesterol drop. Sorry, this was the white lady, and she was very committed. She did it from 179 LDL to 98. It was just wonderful. This was a black patient. He came in with diabetes, 229 cholesterol, 150 bad cholesterol. He was very, very honestly following the plant-based diet. He lost 64 pounds in 6 months. And his cholesterol, of course, became normal, but look at his A1C, dropped from 7.1 to, he got rid of his diabetes. And he transferred so many patients of his family members to my practice. And one day his sister came in and she said, Doc, what did you do to Derek? I said, what did I do? I just gave him some advice. He says, no, there is something wrong with you. I said, what do you mean? He says, at Christmas time, he invited everyone. He came in, and believe it or not, he was looking for carrot on Christmas instead of cake. So I said, well, that is my patient who is really following my advice. So that was a very good success story. Another white lady that dropped 240 to 166, LDL 153 to 89. This was on that Mung Bhakri, one patient, Indian patient. He had 7.9 A1C all the time, requiring a lot of medications and all that. But I got angry on him. I said, no, you have to do something about it. He says, okay, Sainik Bhai, you're telling me, I'll do it. He actually came back in 3 months. He literally counted. He says, I had 96 Mung Bhakris. He counted everything. But look at his A1C dropped from 7.9 to 6.2. So that was an amazing drop, success of the Mung Bhakri. And another patient, again, dropped, him and his parents, 3 of them, they all were 8.1, 8.2, and they went on Mung Bhakri instead of wheat roti, and they dropped to 6.1. So that was amazing. So
I'm Sister Susan.
I want to
working in a school.
just want to show you this.
I'm teaching in first grade. My diet is morning, I eat only fruits. Then afternoon, I eat for my lunch 1 cucumber and 3 celery sticks. Then dinner, I eat cooked vegetables and cucumber too. And I drink only almond milk. My sugar level is now, my A1C is, it was high 7.5, yes. And now it is 6.1 within 5 months. I think I can bring more down my A1C and I'm fine. So you can also follow this diet. You all will be fine also. And my weight also is, I lost weight like 16 pounds. 16 pounds, 16 yes. pounds. Now you're also eating the beans, chickpeas, chickpeas, moong dal, and all kind. Right. beans.
Beans, all kinds of beans, yeah.
Beans too.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to conclude with this enthusiastic testimony, and I'll hand it over to Munjalji.
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Shanek Shah. You have done wonders by treating patients with plant-based diet. It's hats off to you, and you are following that, and you can cure a lot of people from not only from diabetes but heart disease and cholesterol and a lot of things, and good to know that even animal foods have all that bad cholesterol, and plant-based diet doesn't. Even roti, that's a discovery for many people.
Exactly. It was even for me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I realized that it really changes so much. Not only it reduces your sugar, but it also reduces your weight.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Roti is very simple, but it's not.
I have that personal experience. I left roti and rice for almost 4 or 5 months, and my weight went down to almost 12, 13 pounds right from there. And also A1C also was reduced. So,
absolutely. So you're a live proof. Excellent.
Yeah. So that's a great thing to know. Everybody, I think you should follow the advice and you will be happy.
Yeah, now we have to start eating the moong bhakri.
Yeah.
I've tried it once, but now I have to do it more often.
I should have patented.
Yeah, right.
You can make a
okay. Now let me introduce
Dr. Moise.
Second guest speaker, Dr. Moise Kasubai. Dr. Moise Kasubai is the Associate Chair of Medicine, Lincoln Hospital, Bronx, and he is Assistant Professor of Clinical Medicine, Weill Cornell University. He is a physician advisor to Hindusat, an artificial intelligence healthcare company, and he's on the executive board of Node Health, evidence-based digital medicine. And he's a panelist at Digital Medicine Conference, December 2018. He is certified in plant-based nutrition from Cornell University. Using mind-body techniques in clinical practice, he completed a course by Massachusetts General Hospital. It's my honor and privilege to present to you Dr. Moise Kasubai. Dr. Moise, please unmute yourself.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Munji. I appreciate that, and Munjalji. I really appreciate what Dr. Shah spoke. I love the idea of the roti ideas, the quinoa and the moong dal was fantastic, and the real life examples were very, very inspiring. So thank you again. So I'm just going to share my screen. I think we're going to talk a lot about how do you prevent cancer, what is the environmental damage that happens with eating mainly animal food and the animal cruelty that goes along with eating animal food. To start with, just a short thing, to ensure good health, you got to eat lightly, as we all know, breathe deeply, that's yoga and meditation, live moderately, cultivate cheerfulness, optimism is great, and maintain an interest in life. I apologize. So the present diet, the American diet, is called a SAD diet, and it stands for Standard American Diet. And it is really sad because we're eating so little fruits and vegetables, only 7%. And 51% is processed food, which is complex. It's made with a lot of chemical pollutants, and 42% is animal products. And all of this is causing a huge amount of damage to our health. As you can see that when we originated from bonobo apes, as you would know, and we progressed to being hunters and gatherers, and from there we became farmers. Now, when we hunters and gatherers, we were healthy, we were living longer, we were eating predominantly plant-based food, And when we progressed to farming, that's when civilization started, but that's when health deteriorated. So we became less and less healthy. An average lifespan was around 30 to 40 years of age. So we have to go back to what we are doing as hunter and gatherers, where we're predominantly eating a lot of berries and fruits, etc., and vegetables, and much less amount of meat as we eat right now. As you can see, the majority of the healthcare costs in this country now, we have a $3 trillion healthcare industry. Out of that, $2.5 trillion goes in chronic diseases, which are hypertension, diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular disease. Now, I would really not call this chronic disease. I would really call them as foodborne disease. Every one of them is caused because of what we eat. And we are what we eat, as we all know very much. So to decrease the healthcare costs, continue with this economy that we have right now, we really need to cut down amount of the meat-based food we eat. Now, studies that have been done that if you actually decrease, go predominantly into plant-based, not completely cutting down meat, but predominantly plant-based, you will actually decrease the cost of healthcare by around 30%. That's approximately a saving on almost $1 trillion a year, which is something we should be really looking forward for. Now, this to compare, you can see a chart here compares what the leading causes of death in the United States is. As we all know, it is supposed to be heart disease, cancer, stroke, chronic respiratory disease, etc. But if you look at the actual causes of that, and that's what bothers all of us, and that's why we are here to talk about it. One is tobacco, very well known to all of y'all. And the second is poor diet and physical inactivity. Now, if you look at tobacco, it took about 6,000 randomized controlled trials. I mean, research done by thousands of specialists, after which only the Surgeon General called this as a risk to health. And that's where all the warnings came around in cigarette packets. And you see a slow decline in tobacco use. And that's what we need to do with this nutrition. We need to talk more about it, talk frequently about it, have a lot of research studies to show very strong correlation with nutrition and bad health. And we are getting more and more into it. And a lot of the people around the world, including Americans, about 15 million Americans are now vegan compared to about 1 million about a couple of decades ago. Now, cancer, and I'm mainly going to talk about cancer and how plant-based nutrition can prevent it or decrease it. As you know, cancer is the second leading cause of death. Meat has chemical compounds and organic pollutants which cause cancer. For instance, you're grilling the meat and you see all the oil dropping down into the fire, and the smoke that comes back, it sticks onto the meat, and you have this. This is actually a huge organic pollutant which can cause cancer. And we know now, with a lot of evidence behind it, that a third of cases could be prevented with plant-based nutrition. East Asians like Chinese, Koreans, Japanese have 25 times lower rate of many forms of cancer, which is true about 20, 30 years ago. Unfortunately, the East Asians have also now started eating just like Americans, and their cancer rates are increasing. We know from all studies that we've done that vegans have the lowest rate of cancer. And after smoking, the second commonest cause of cancer is obesity, which is known to cause inflammation and hormonal balance. So we know obesity is caused because of what we eat, the increased calorie intake we have. And of course, the food we eat causes that. So how does plant-based food prevent you from getting cancer? One, it has phytochemicals, which are plant chemicals, which are anti-inflammatory. So they're antioxidants. They cure the body, they decrease the genetic damage that is getting done every day on our body. You know, we have cancer cells being formed in us every day, every minute. And these plant chemicals are there to eat them up to prevent any genetic damage that happens. And as Dr. Sharnik Shah just mentioned about increased fiber consumption, which also improves your health of your gut microbiome. And the gut microbiome is extraordinarily important to keep you healthy in the food you eat, and the fiber improves the gut microbiome. And that's how we decrease the colonic cancer. And of course, when you have plant-based nutrition, you actually have fewer calories because it's filling. The amount of food that you eat is much less, and hence you do not become overweight, and that causes less amount of obesity, and that causes less amount of cancer. Now, plant-based nutrition also improves your immune system by attacking mutations in cells and decreasing amount of genetic damage that is being done. And this is the only diet You have keto diet, you have paleo diet, you have Atkins, etc. But we have plant-based nutrition, which has 20 years of research backing it, with multiple studies that shows it's really proven over all these last 2 decades that it is the best form of nutrition existing right now to not only decrease cancer, but decrease all your chronic diseases that we are suffering from. Now, what about colorectal cancer and plant-based nutrition? So 90 to 95% of colon cancer is secondary lifestyle, not genetics. Again, just to stress this, most cancers are because of lifestyle choices, environmental factors, smoking, obesity, etc. Genetics plays a very small role in any cancer. Now, processed meat is class 1 carcinogen. So your hot dog is just as smoking. So you have a hot dog, you smoke, it's the same thing. Meat, just plain meat, is considered a possible carcinogen. So meat is considered by WHO to be bad for your health. And this has been going on for almost last 10 to 20 years. Now, 70 to 80% of your colon cancer are linked to what we eat. Colonoscopy, which we all have to do after 50 years of age, is a secondary prevention. You're looking at the whole of your colon, you're finding if there's a polyp present, you're taking it out. But the polyp would not have formed if you're eating well. So the primary prevention of colon cancer is actually what you eat. You don't really, at that point, need a colonoscopy for secondary prevention. There's also, if you do get colon cancer, unfortunately, and you're on treatment, you reduce the risk of recurrence when you start having plant-based nutrition. And the vegan gut, that is, the plant-based food has a lot of fiber, it has a lot of anti-inflammatory bacteria, which prevents you from getting cancer and causing damage to genetic damage to the intestinal cells. What about breast cancer? Now we know most causes of breast cancer is alcohol, physical inactivity, obesity, smoking, and meat cause breast cancer. I should also add dairy out here, which is a strong factor for breast cancer too. Now, meat and animal fat double the risk of breast cancer. Now, there's a 30% reduction in breast cancer with lifestyle changes, and that means you start becoming more active, you have less alcohol, you cut down your smoking, and of course, you go to plant-based nutrition. Now, the most research has been done on soy, which most of you are very familiar with in the form of tofu and tempeh. Breast cancer, as we all know, is less common in countries where its consumption is common, such as East Asians. Now, switching from dairy milk to soy milk causes a 32% reduction in breast cancer. And soy also reduces recurrence and improves survival. So if unfortunately you have breast cancer and you switch your diet to plant-based and it's predominantly soy, it will reduce recurrence and improve survival. There's another thing out here, there's a connection that there was thought about that soy has estrogen, it can cause cancer and we should not be having it. That has been proven completely wrong. And the earlier you start having soy, that means you start having in childhood, there'll be a less of a risk of you getting cancer. So the early is better. And as we all know, plant-based nutrition is for everyone, right from birth to death. It is really important for plant-based nutrition. And again, fiber that you have in plant-based nutrition decrease the estrogen levels by excreting it in the stools. We switch to prostate cancer, which is again very common. And the risk of prostate cancer in vegetarians is less than half of non-vegetarians. We don't have really any data on plant-based nutrition, but there is some data saying that if you are on plant-based nutrition and you have very early stage cancer, you can actually halt the progression or slow the progression of most early stage prostate cancer patients. And this study was done for approximately 2 years, and they had to halt it because the effect was so strong. Now, meat causes chronic inflammation of prostate, and chronic inflammation is basically a prostate which is not repairing itself well. It has always got a lot of oxidants out there, and there's a lot of damage happening. And again, as Dr. Shah clearly mentioned about increased cholesterol, which is also known cause of prostate cancer. So having more dairy milk or any animal fat can cause prostate cancer. So what are the environmental effects of animal farming? And as you know, GHG stands for greenhouse gas emissions, is as much emissions happen with animal farming as the entire global transportation sector. So you take your cars, you take your ships, you take your planes, you put them all together, the emission happening from animal farming is even greater than the entire global transportation sector, which is shocking, really. Again, industrial agriculture uses enormous amount of fresh water. In the United States, is responsible for 55% of water consumption. And there are lots of places in America which is again surprising to all of us, that they have drought out there. And they tell you to stop using water at home when the most common cause of water consumption is animal agriculture. Now, also farm animals consume a third of the planet's grain production and a third of the planet's ice-free land. Now, consider this, a lot of, at least there's 7 billion population in the world right now, around 2 to 3 billion are actually going hungry. And they're going hungry because most of the grains that we produce is given for animal farming and not to be feeding these hungry people all around the world. And you see that a lot of hunger is also existing in India. And just a simple example, if you switch from a hamburger to a veggie burger, just one time, you save as much water as not showering for 2 entire months. It's that much amount of water spent when you're having a hamburger or any beef for that matter. Again, here you're looking at plant-based agriculture versus animal-based agriculture. It's for amount of proteins that is produced. So when you have plant-based agriculture and you're producing protein from plant-based agriculture like chickpeas, etc., you're using 100 times less water, 7 times less land, and 10 times less fossil fuel. So it is a tremendous amount of decrease in amount of abuse that we have, environmental abuse that can happen if you all start slowly switching to plant-based nutrition. Again, you don't have to completely switch off. You can cut down to 50%. You'll save a lot of money, environmental damage, etc., for our future generation, which we have to think very strongly right now because of the rising sea levels and the destruction happening everywhere. And as you can see, the recent storm that is hitting the west coast of India and causing damage. One of the cause of that is, of course, the global warming. Here is a quick thing about a protein scorecard. And if you can see that what is the environmental damage that can happen if you have lamb and goat and beef, which is very high. It's also very costly compared to things like wheat and corn and rice and soy, where the impact on the environment is very low and they're also very low cost. So switching to actually a vegan or plant-based nutrition is a cheaper, it saves you money, it is cheaper, and it actually causes long-term sustainability for the entire world. Now, we all know about animal cruelty, you all have heard about it, you've all seen this. And just to give a definition of what a factory farm is, it's an industrial facility where animals are bred. Now, there's just bred out there, they're not taken care of, they're not curated, and it's basically bred into existence. They're fattened for their meat or exploited for their milk or eggs, and then they are slaughtered. And the slaughtering obviously is not done, is done very painfully. There's a lot of suffering that happens at the end. And again, the whole world has 70 billion farm animals each year. So we have to sustain the 70 billion farm animals to actually feed a few billion, while a couple of billion are actually getting very hungry at the same time. Now, billions of farmed animals around the world are confined in cages or crates so small that they can barely move. So there's a lot of the cruelty that we do on animals just so we can have a steak or we can have milk is just amazing. Again, if you look at the cows in India, there is artificial insemination. PETA, which has actually recorded violence against cows by workers. They have been kicked, they have been beaten with sticks. The young calves are confined with short stains, and there's a lot of unsanitary conditions. There's feces all around. And then we actually have that milk and we consume that. And it has been known that the milk about 20% of it has pollutants in that. And we're actually consuming that. And that's causing us to become more sick. And these animals also are sentient beings with whom we share this planet. And it's very soul searching to think how we hurt these animals just so that we can have a glass of milk. And again, just think about it, that what is good for the planet, what is good for the animals, and what is good for the humans is one thing. It's plant-based. It helps all of us together. And we have only one world to live in. That's this world that we are right now in. Now, don't forget, as I said, I'm also very much into mind-body medicine and quickly, I know plant-based nutrition is great. You have to do it, but don't forget about gratitude, thanking somebody or writing it down at least once a week or every day if you have to. Belly breathing by yoga, socializing with friends is very important to live long lives. And of course, laughter. Laughter is always the best medicine. And other thing is you got to walk as much as you can, walk as fast as you can, better than running, but it does not damage your knees. So again, plant-based nutrition with some mind-body techniques, and you've got to be a healthy person with that. And again, we knew this 2,500 years ago by Hippocrates, that let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. We have forgotten this, and we've got to get this back into our system. We got to think about it every day. We put food into our mouth, that food is the medicine. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moyes. It was quite insightful. We know, I mean, basically you clarified obesity causes colon cancer, and it's a lifestyle choice, and everybody has to make a lifestyle choice, and health depends on that. So what you eat, what you are, basically that reflects your this thing. So that was great. And then uh, eating tofu and tempeh and soya milk is a great introduction for people. And fiber, of course, that's the basically plant-based diet. It reduces cancer and it takes away all this thing. So that's great. Prostate cancer and also mind body, this thing, laughter yoga and other things. They are great introductions. Okay, I thank you, and I would like to introduce now our third speaker, Dr. Kalindi Bakshi. Kalindi Bakshi is a PhD. She is founder of Satvika LLC Pentology, Fuel and Firki Inc. Uh, Nutrition and neuroscience meet in Dr. Kalindi's a vegan and health and fitness enthusiast who specialized in protein biochemistry, physiology, and psychiatry, was a postdoctoral fellow in Mount Sinai School of Medicine, and she's assistant medical professor at the City University of New York. Dr. Bakshi looks at food as a healing path. Being a neuroscientist by training, she studied the human brain and focused on a simple question: how are protein pathways in our brain altered by our lifestyle? There she learned that everything comes down to a key factor in our lifestyle: diet. So one day she decided to step out of the lab and fast forward to the present. She is now the founder and executive chef at Pentology and has successfully launched ready-to-eat plant-based meals lineup. It's my honor and privilege to present to you Dr. Kalindi Bakshi. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you very much for the elaborate introduction, Ms. Govindji. And thank you all for spending this beautiful evening listening to an amazing talk filled with healthfulness and well-being. Dr. Shah and Dr. Moyes, they already, by showing scientific data, by showing clinical data, and also, by going to basic biochemistry, they explained why a whole food plant-based diet is the way to go, is the way to reverse disease, way to prevent disease, or, and prevent and treat disease. So now my job has become very easier. We all know the benefits, that beyond doubt, this is the best diet, but how do we do it? So that's where I come in. Like, how are we going to, switch from whatever we are used to, our diets and lifestyle, how are we going to switch to a whole food plant-based diet? What I like to do is explain in terms of, taking into consideration nutrition aspect of the diet. I'm just going to share the screen. Just a minute. So I'm going to start with that how are we going to, adopt to this diet, and some of very common questions, whether a whole foods plant-based diet, all the ingredients that are required here. Not sure I'm able to share the screen. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Okay. So some of the most common concerns and questions when we think about adopting a plant-based diet or a vegan diet. So, one of the most common is it easy to find ingredients? Very easy answer to that is, in today's time, plant-based diet is by far the most popular diet. So options are endless, and they're available from any major grocery store to even a small deli. Mostly everywhere you'll find these ingredients. The second question, cost and time effective. Cost, if you are looking at, mainly doing it by yourself, buying vegetables, fruits, dry beans, lentils, grains, cost is very less compared to any, if you're thinking of meats or any of those ingredients. The main and the most important question here is, mostly people think about nutrition. If they're going to miss any major food groups, if they're a lot of concern who are non-vegans or non-vegetarians, their concern is protein. Am I going to miss my protein? Am I going to just be filling up on carbohydrates, mainly carbs? The other question is, am I going to be full eating vegetables and fruits? Because mainly people think of a whole food plant-based or a vegan diet as mainly salads, sort of like a plate of greens. So let's tackle them one. I'm going to tackle them one after another. And, I'm going to take you through this little journey and show you a nice vegan plate. And I'm going to show how holistic this plate is and how to make sure that you are sort of incorporating every ingredient within the whole food plant-based diet or within a vegan diet. It's on your plate. So typically in the vegan diet, you will be having a lot of vegetables and fruits. Your proteins and your carbohydrates will be your beans, legumes, your grains, and your fats will be from nuts, then the nuts and seed family. So what I like to do is I like to break down the food groups into major and minor groups, so are known as macro and micronutrients. So as we all know that our body, all the cells in our body itself is made with three major molecules or three major macro molecules, which are called the carbohydrates, fat, proteins, and fats. So these three, since our body is made up of them, we need the most in our diet. And just to say, a vegan diet it makes, the way the vegan plate is, or the vegan diet is, the carbohydrates and proteins, it will cover, all the ingredients or all the vegan foods, carbohydrates and proteins are covered very well. And the fats, they come from oils, nuts, and seeds. So all the three macronutrients in your diet are covered in the vegan diet. Now, micronutrients, which are the smaller part, they're vitamins and minerals. Micronutrients are necessary for our immune system. We all, think about a lot of things like, certain green teas, we use vitamins, supplements to supplement for it. But if you eat a well-balanced vegan diet, mostly all the plant family has the micronutrients that are essential for your body. Okay, so both the food groups, the macro and the micro food groups, are met with a whole food plant-based diet or a carefully planned vegan diet. So the first, mostly people think, if they're not vegetarian, if they're used to the traditional, the SAD diet, as Dr. Mo is saying, mostly people think that vegan diet is full of carbohydrates. They think that, somehow carbs are considered our mortal enemies. However, that's not true. our body, our cells are made up of mostly of carbohydrates. And our body, think about carbohydrate as a fuel that drives our body. And in a whole food plant-based diet, carbohydrates are extremely, they are not just essentially they play the role of carbs, but they also play the role, they also bring proteins with them. So the carbohydrate, that's why I have bunched carbohydrates and proteins together. So when thinking about carbohydrates in the vegan or whole food plant-based diet, the choice of carbohydrate is extremely essential. So you go with, complex carbs, meaning the carbohydrates which are in whole grains, in beans, in lentils. So the choice of carbohydrates in your diets is extremely critical, because not only because they are essential for you, but also with carbohydrates come fiber. So in vegan diet, your carbs are going to give you not only carbs, they're also going to give you proteins, and they're also going to give you fiber. And as Dr. Shah already mentioned how fiber is essential for your gut, and how fiber essentially scrapes the dead cells, and it helps you, helps the cells in your digestive system to renew. So a vegan diet, the carbohydrates and proteins in vegan diet give you very high fiber. Now, some of the carbs that are, essentially you want to have them on the plate. Even Dr. Shah mentioned that the rice and the roti. So he already said rice, you can be replaced with quinoa. You can use brown rice. You can use brown basmati. Now also there is sprouted brown rice. So if you go in your grocery store now, since last few years, I've noticed they have a whole natural food aisles, and they have plenty of grains there. So try to experiment with them. Replace your regular white rice with quinoa, replace your white rice with bulgur, which is, I think in Indian cooking, it's known as dalia, or, cracked wheat. All these things, also wheat berries. So all these, they are very filling. These grains, whole grains, are very filling. They're high in fiber, plus they bring good carbohydrates or complex carbohydrates and proteins with them. We all are familiar with legumes, lentils, the dals we use. They again act as both carbs and proteins. Something that I always do, I always cook quinoa. And anything that I'm eating, I like to toss quinoa in. And as Dr. Shah also explained, that quinoa has 11 essential amino acids. So to reinforce that, that is my go-to food. Always have it with any salad or any dal or anything. Add quinoa on the side. You're going to get the benefit of your complex carbs, your whole grains, and your protein all together. So you have a plate which is full of so many different nutrients all together in one. And another thing, there's always with vegan diet, whenever you are in a room, when you say vegan, all of a sudden the eyes are on you, and everybody starts questioning your protein. We have to remember that plants have proteins in them. Plants are made with carbohydrates, they are made with cell wall, and they are made with proteins. So eating a healthy whole food plant-based diet ensures that you have enough protein in your, you're getting enough protein through your nutrition. So some of the sources of protein already mentioned before: tofu, lentils, beans, any whole grains, they all have proteins. And the fats, essential fats that are in the vegan diet, that we have almond, peanut butter, nut butters, they all have a good fat in them. So essentially we have covered our carbohydrates, proteins, and we are here. You have to always remember that your plate is going to be holistic, and it will have all the three major food groups. Okay, and one of the key protein, or one of the protein that is very good and has a lot of research has backed this, is the soy protein. It has been very controversial last few years about, there were controversies surrounding that soy protein. They said it increases your risk of cancer. However, I was just doing a research, about 2,000 papers show that no, soy protein does not do that. In fact, it is very beneficial. It's beneficial it has the best thing soy protein has is called phytoestrogens, or called plant estrogens. They are very helpful. They provide a lot of nutrition, and soy protein is also considered as a complete protein. And the good thing is it comes in so many different, the tofu, which is very commonly or widely available, it comes in different textures. So if you prefer one to another texture, go for it. And nowadays they also have a high protein tofu, which is twice the protein of the traditional tofu. It's available in, again, I see it widely available in grocery stores. So it also with, while cooking with high protein tofu, it does not have too much water. So it's easier to cook. It's very easy to marinate. It takes the flavor it takes the flavor very well. And you can toss it in any of your Indian cooking, replace it with paneer. And it's, that paneer, which is discussed, dairy, it has cholesterol, it is high in fat, versus your tofu, which is isoflavones, phytoestrogens, zero cholesterol, and it has complete protein. So that is another replacement and another replacement for a dairy product like paneer, and a great source of plant protein. So again, these things, showing a vegan plate, when I say you have your carbs in your plate, you have your protein in your plate, you have your fat in your plate, and all of those three together, they, even if you consider them either together or separately, they all have protein in them. So, the question always is, okay, according to my body weight, I'm looking for 65 to 77 grams of protein or 80 grams of protein. Will a plant-based diet really guarantee that I'm getting enough protein with the diet? And here it is. I just wanted to show an example of how with plant-based diet, just look at 1 cup of oatmeal. It has 6 grams of protein. So 1 cup of soy milk has 7 grams of protein. So when you add your daily intake, daily each meal all together in the end of the day, you are the protein, you will get your protein. So don't worry about not getting your protein or not getting enough protein. The key here is plan your diet, plan your meals, and make sure that you are, your every meal has essential macros or essential macronutrients and micronutrients. Very simple is a cup of oatmeal. Now, which is my to-go breakfast. So an oatmeal, put in soy milk or almond milk, whatever your choice of milk is, add some nuts to it, add chia seed to it, so add flax meal to it. Each of the ingredient you are adding, the amount of protein each of the ingredient adds, it's a simple math. And in the end of the day, if you are eating a well-balanced, a well-planned, a vegan diet, whole food, plant-based diet, you will end up with the protein number, no matter what the number you're looking for. But the key here is in not even this diet, any diet, the key is planning and thinking ahead, and having those ingredients with you, and just planning in general in life, that even without, whether it's diet, whether financial planning, it is planning. So be prepared with all your ingredients, and study the labels, look at the labels, what each each dish, each ingredient has. So here, as looking at this example, the perfect example, the total protein recommendation, this is just from one of the sources, 63 grams. But if you follow, there's a sample menu, it total comes out to 77. So here again, you are in a winning situation. You have more protein than you thought. So just to show you a picture of a beautiful vegan plate, I feel with food pictures and showing like visually appealing vegan food, it really gives you ideas of what you can do with it. So here we have black-eyed peas, source of carbohydrate, proteins, then a lot of vegetables chopped in, tossed in with olive oil. You can add nuts to it, and there you go. You don't have to go through 5 different courses and put them on the plate. There is this one meal which is going to be your protein, your carbohydrate, and have your good healthy fats. The same thing, like, commonly used in Indian vegetarian food, the kala chana or the sprouted mung beans. Sprouted mung beans are low in calories, and they're extremely healthy. The sprouts themselves, when the sprouts germinate, they create much more nutrition. So, these are the simple things. I don't think this is anything for a simple vegetarian diet. We use this. So if we can make it even, we can add more vegetables to it. If you can add more nuts to it, altogether you can make a colorful plate, which will appeal to your eye. And of course, when you add, all these ingredients together, it will definitely, it will please your eye and also please your palate. Okay. So the next one, I already went over this, is the fat or the fatty acids. We often people question, even Dr. Shah mentioned about how people have this notion that fish oil or eating fish is the best way to get your omega-3 fatty acids or any of your healthy cholesterol or healthy fatty acids, healthy fats. With vegan or whole food plant-based diet, there are so many sources, like, starting with an avocado. You use, it is a very nice and buttery texture, and it is a very good source of monosaturated fat. It is also very high in vitamins. So, toss in, if you're missing your heavy dressing, toss in an avocado in any of your salad. It will make really creamy salads, and it will give you your healthy fats. And as Dr. Shah also mentioned, Dr. Moise mentioned, vegan diets are free of cholesterol. So, you don't have to worry about, mostly whatever ingredients you use, you're not going to have the, the high cholesterol in it. So they are also low in saturated fat. The one thing with nuts, I would say that always be gentle. So a fistful of nuts, or use measuring spoons, use tablespoons, or just have an idea that, have 5 nuts, 6 nuts, or because again, when you have more, nuts are also high in calories. So always think that how many meals you're going to add nuts to it. Okay. So although they are very good source of fats, but remember, a moderation in this, especially in this category, is very helpful. And one good thing, I don't know how many are dark chocolate lovers. Good news is the cacao nibs, or the dark chocolate, part of our vegan dark chocolate, it also has good fats. So a good reason to eat your chocolate every day. Okay. One of the most obvious question with vegan diet or eliminating dairy from the diet is calcium. How do I get my calcium? What about vitamin D? And what about probiotics if I'm not eating yogurt? Mostly Dr. Shah also mentioned that milk or any dairy product comes with so much cholesterol. So here you have a win-win. So you have no cholesterol here. Plant-based milks do not have cholesterol. Most of the store-bought milk, dairy milk, is fortified with vitamin D. So nowadays, any of the plant-based milk, soy milk or almond milk, they come with, they are also fortified with vitamin D. So that is something that you don't have to worry about if you're thinking you're going to miss a whole, if you're going to have if you're going to be low in vitamin D. Again, also remember the part of the country where we live in, even people who consume dairy or who are meat eaters, their vitamin D levels are also low. Vitamin D levels are higher in places where there is more sunlight. People are exposed to more sunlight. But plant-based milks are fortified, plus eating a lot of mushrooms. Add mushroom to your diet. Mushrooms are rich in vitamin D. And even when you cut mushrooms and you put them in sun, that also actually, mushrooms absorb vitamin C very well from sunlight. So, if you are not including, make sure you include mushrooms as part of your diet. And mushrooms are very earthy in flavor. So, if you're eating any kind of like pastas or something, you can add mushrooms to it. Any kind of vegetable you make, toss in mushrooms. Next thing is calcium. So Calcium is something that is abundant in leafy green vegetables. So, if part of, make sure that you are eating enough green vegetables as part of a salad, or you're making a vegetable, you can throw them in. Even tofu, even soy products are very high in calcium. So, that is another, so you're not going to miss even that part if you're going to, if you decide to quit dairy, or if you quit dairy. Probiotics, non-dairy yogurt, again, now non-dairy yogurt, they all have probiotics. Most of them have probiotics. Pickles, I'm not talking about achar. They are like, either it's kimchi or the fermented pickles that you get in the store. They also have sort of like, they give you benefits of probiotics. One of the things is, when you eat beans over time, your gut sort of creates healthy bacteria. So beans are also a very good source of probiotics. We don't think about it that way, but over time, while digesting the beans, your gut starts to maintain a healthy bacterial colony. So remember, again, probiotics, not having yogurt in your diet doesn't mean you're going to miss on probiotics. And there's plenty of option nowadays in the plant-based milk aisle. I have never seen so many plant-based milks in the dairy aisle, especially this year. And every time I walk into the supermarket, a new company, a new plant-based company milks have been there. If we are used to for those who are used to their chai in the morning, I really love chai with oat milk, Oatly's full-fat milk. And it really, to me, that craving, it really satisfied that. So try different milks and see what suits your palate, but everything is available. Just to show you the calcium, going back, I just had some data on calcium, how much calcium is in, soy milk, in, the plant-based milk, in greens, in tofu. So again, just to show you that you are definitely going to meet your calcium requirement. In going plant-based or with whole food plant-based. Okay, so just wanted to show you something that Dr. Shah already mentioned, oats, how essential fiber is in our diet, and how fiber lowers cholesterol. So oats, this is my go-to breakfast. I love, I call it a superfood breakfast because it's made with whole grain oats. It has plant milk, or almond milk. It has chia seeds. It has nuts and all the good ingredients in it. So just to compare side by side, a whole food plant-based superfood breakfast to a traditional egg, to traditional breakfast. This is just one egg. Look at the cholesterol here versus the cholesterol here, 62%. So your one egg, your single egg omelet, and this is just an egg. So when you're cooking, usually people, when cook eggs, they add oil to it, then on top of it, bacon or whatever goes in there. And everything adds to the cholesterol. It's a simple math. So if you're going to do 2 eggs, it's going to be twice. Versus here, the percent is still 0. The number is still 0. And look at this, the dietary fiber in the egg traditional breakfast is 0 compared to your whole food plant-based oat breakfast, 15 gram fiber. And not to repeat again, Dr. Shah already mentioned the benefits of a whole grain, of fiber, how important dietary fiber is. So you see, again, there is a win-win here. A whole food plant-based superfood breakfast, 0 cholesterol, and 54%, 15 grams of fiber. So, the choice is yours. And this is something very easy to prepare. I know today we don't have time, otherwise I would have shown you how quick it is to prepare this breakfast. Okay. Just have a quick recipe there, how to prepare it, and just to show you that there are different kinds of oats exist. Rather than buying those packet oats which are full of sugar, go for the non-prepared packages which are either steel cut, rolled, or quick oats. Avoid the packages which have sugar in them, and they're easy to prep, and you can find so many different ways. Be creative with it. Use your plant-based milk, use all your good fats. You can add quinoa to it. and altogether adds to 10 grams of protein in your oats. Okay, when you add your nuts, when you add your seeds, when you have your oats. So altogether, again, you see fiber, protein, and zero cholesterol. If you are not a big fan of sweet for the breakfast, you like something savory, the same thing you can do, just like you're making, I don't know, you're cooking and you're making the poha or your upma, the same thing, you can replace the semolina with your whole grain oats. And you can add whatever, the green chilies for flavor, you can add vegetables, onions, bell peppers, everything. All you do is replace your traditional, whatever your semolina or your poha for oats, and it does the same job. And again, it gives you fiber and protein. Another way, replacing your eggs with moong dal omelets, lentil omelets. It's a very simple thing. You have your lentils, and you soak your lentils for a couple of hours, and then blend them in a high-speed processor. Make a nice smooth batter. You have your mung bean omelet. Now, to this omelet, you can add spinach. You can add whatever vegetables you like. You can flavor it with your chili powder. Remember, the spices, as long as you're not using too much salt, the spices are fine. Spices are fine, and spices add to the flavor, and they give you so many other benefits. So you're comparing to your traditional omelet, the moong dal omelet. I'm going to show you the cholesterol and the dietary fiber here. And I think this is for the serving size. It's like about 19 gram proteins. So this would make 4 big omelets, but this is full of nutrition. Your protein, you're getting your fiber. If you don't add, if you go low oil or no oil at all, it still cooks very well. So now we have solved the protein mystery. And now we have solved, like, okay, the plant-based diet does have protein, and it will give you enough protein. It will give you enough nutrients. The real question is, yes, we need patience to explain people that, yes, we have our protein, and, we actually have our cake and we can eat it. We can eat our carbs and get protein from there. We can eat our proteins and get carbs from there and get so much fiber from them. We eat our fats, and we don't eat too much saturated fat. Our diet is low in fat. We still eat fats. So yes, it takes some patience, but we are getting there. Another question is, nowadays it's not even a question. Is vegan food flavorful? Are we eating cardboard? No, not really. If you know how to flavor your food right, if you can very well fry your food and get all the fat and however, cooking does not really mean, cooking your food or flavoring your food does not really mean that frying it in oil or using a lot of oil. Flavor comes from spices, from herbs. So, there are so many, nature has given us so many spices. All plants have given us so many spices. Plants also, so, use spices, use herbs. You really don't need salt, oil, or sugar, refined sugar, to flavor your food. Experiment with spices. And with Indian food, we all know we have plenty of spices and we are used to using spices. So use them to flavor your food. Don't think about oil and, as the main thing, or ghee or butter as the main thing in making some Indian curries and stuff. So either low oil or no oil. You just need to learn how to, cook at a low temperature for a long time and use your spice. Go ahead, and you have all the flavor there. So you're not going to miss out on any flavor when you're going vegan, when you try to adopt to this new whole food plant-based lifestyle. Another question is, will I be eating just salads? How am I going to be full on a plate of just green or lettuce? It's not true. This lettuce used to be the thing of the past. Now it has replaced with so many flavorful greens. When we put a salad together, I'm just going to show you. This is a vegan salad, and this is something that we did last year during pandemic. I had a group. Every Sunday we used to just cook together virtually. We start with carbohydrates, with beans. whole grain quinoa. And these are pictures from the same session, how everybody created this together, everybody created these dishes. We call them macro bowls. So macros meaning you have your carbohydrates in your plates, you have your proteins in your plates, you have your good fats in your plate, and you have your whole grains and vegetables. So yes, a vegan diet, if anything, a vegan plate, if anything, it is full of color, it's full of texture and bursting with flavor. You know, the most important thing is you have to get in the kitchen and you have to adapt to this new way and adapt. And, you know, believe it or not, some more pictures just to show you that vegans don't just eat salads. We don't miss out. We love our dessert, and our dessert, a whole food plant-based dessert, the same way it gives you carbohydrates. I don't, when we do this whole food plant-based baking, cooking, we don't use sugar, we don't use refined sugar or refined flour. These are cookies made with chickpeas. They are sweetened with date or maple syrup. They're made with whole oats, and they taste delicious. You do not, you have a sweet tooth, might as well try this. Going on adapting a vegan diet, whole food plant-based diet, you're not going to miss your dessert. You just have to make an effort to make it. Okay. Last but not the least, both Dr. Moiz and Dr. Shah both mentioned adaptation. How are we, this is about adapting a lifestyle, about adapting a change. And to that, I like to quote Charles Darwin, who says that it is not the strongest of the species that survive, not the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. So Dr. Shah, Dr. Moiz both said that every cell in our body goes through a change. They adapt, they renew. Same as with our taste receptors or our taste buds. We have about 10,000 taste buds which go through renewal every 2 weeks. That means your change in your diet, your taste buds will adapt. It is not that your taste buds are not going to adapt. It is in your mind. You have to convince yourself that this is the lifestyle, and your body, every cell in your body will adapt. Your brain will adapt to this new taste and new lifestyle. So it is up to you whether you want to hold on to the last. Some of us are dangling at the I remember I was on the edge for such a long time. It was just the 5% change I had to make, but once I switched, once I made the change, I felt that everything, this new life is so different. This new diet, it actually got me more into fitness, and I learned about mindfulness very recently. So this new, I find this is we can adapt, our taste buds can adapt, our body can adapt, and so our mind and our brain can adapt. And what could it be? This is the best diet. You know why? Because you're not only healing your body inside out, you are not only, being more aware about about yourself, you're treating your body gently, and also you're treating the planet gently. You're helping the world with your diet, you're helping your planet with your diet. So today is the day, make a change. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kalindiji. It was very insightful, because the most questions people have about this diet is, where do the proteins come from? And you explained it very well, that you can get all the proteins from beans and lentils, and even carbohydrates have complex carbohydrates have that.
Proteins, yeah.
And probiotic also, you explained that even beans can give you good probiotic, and even you don't have to miss the omelette. You can have a mung dal omelette. That was great. So it was right. And soya gives a good protein also. So, and a lot of milks are available, and
Right.
so there are so many things which are available, but people don't know. I think you touched a very valid points there.
Good information.
Yeah. So it was very insightful. Thank you so much for giving that. Now, anybody have any questions? Please, one by one. Don't crowd yourself. Just one by one. Raise your hand and unmute yourself. Yes, Mr. Bradley Redford, please go ahead.
Yes, I have been using a lot of nutritional yeast, and I'm finding that it's helping me in so many different ways. Do you suggest nutritional yeast?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry,
Yes.
you're
Yes.
using a lot of nutritional yeast?
Yeah, nutritional yeast. I have been using a lot of it. And
Uh-huh.
it seems that I use it with cashews
Right.
and garlic, and I make kind of like a cheese out of it.
Right.
And it works really great for me.
So nutritional yeast is very good for you. So, continue using it. I added in a lot of sauces too. It gives that little cheesy and umami or called umami flavor to food. So I would say continue using it. I also add it in my burgers sometimes when I make burgers, and I just love the flavor.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, who wants to have next question? Anybody?
Thank you very much for sharing very important information. Can we get the PPTs? I'm just thinking like it might be useful for to present to others, to convince them that veganism is a better way to live life. So is it possible that we can get the presentation? PPTs, I mean,
Usually Avinash ji uploads all the presentations on the website and through on the World Vegan website, World Vegan Vision website. And I think all the presentations are available after the event.
Okay, that's very great.
Actually,
thank you.
Sorry about that. Actually, this one also, he's recording it and it will be available. And on top of that, we have 8 webinars going on from India, and US time will be 11:30 to 12:30 every Friday. And they will be giving us how to be vegan and all the advantages of, vegan diet. There are some doctors and, a lot of people are there. So I would suggest you should attend that. And if you need it, please put it in the chat, your address, or you can call me or email me. I will send you the link.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sure.
that will be very, very good and very helpful. I already attended the first one and it is great.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. So the time is 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 or
yes,
in the night?
11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Our USA time, New York time.
On all Fridays.
Fridays. Is it possible to keep the evening timing? Because, some people work and that's why in the daytime, like they are occupied in the office work,
Actually, it is coming from India. They are broadcasting it from there. But all these 8 series will be available on recording. And we could get those for you. Even I had a problem with going on the website, but now we have the link and we have the, password and ID, and we could forward it to you.
Yeah.
And then you can see them on your own time.
Okay. Yeah, right. Thank you so much.
And on top of that, there's a lot of information on our website, World Vegan Vision.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get it and call us anytime.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any question?
Yes. Can you send the link, please, for the webinar that is going on in the email?
Yes, we will send it to you guys.
Yeah.
Everybody who has attended it, we will send it to them.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have one question. I think I put it in chat box. What I get in my practice is a kind of question about phytoestrogens from soy. So you say there is increased estrogen level. Is that the problem?
Who would like to take this question? Dr. Shah or Dr. Moyes? Whosoever wants to take this question, please unmute yourself.
Dr. Moise has left, and I'm not sure about Dr. Shah, but the fear about the plant estrogens is unfounded, and as I think Dr. Bakshi already said that phytoestrogens are actually beneficial, so don't worry about that.
Right. So phytoestrogens have a lot of benefit. It was, if you want, I can share the studies on the benefits of phytoestrogen, scientific studies done on that, and you can, that will help you answer questions or back whatever they are, back it with research. But phytoestrogens, in fact, are very beneficial, especially in case of women. They help with menopause, hot flashes. They're also very helpful. They're helpful for healthier bone.
Right. What I'm asking is, what are its effect on the boys? They're good for women.
No, they're also good for men. They're also good for men. In fact, there is a recent research study done on phytoestrogens and how they help in, I don't exactly remember where it was published, but in prostate cancer. So, what the old belief was that soy proteins lead to decrease in androgens, it is not true. About 2,000 studies are published on that. So that can tell, if that gives you confidence.
Right. Yeah, we need to know that, because that's what parents currently, I am a pediatrician, and when we tell them about soy milk or other milk, then they say, soy milk I'm not going to use because of estrogen.
No, it is not true. It is not true. So there is tremendous amount of research. Even if you look at the PubMed website, I can tell you about 2,000 papers on benefits of soy proteins, even in men. And few years ago, I think in about 2004, 2005, there was a men's health magazine. They had published that how, they had published that soy proteins are not good for men. And the same health magazine recently published that soy proteins are, they're considered the protein now. So, talking to your patients, you can always point out to the benefits of soy protein.
Also Ripple is considered pretty much good equivalent to the regular milk because it's made from peas and has an equivalent amount of protein as the regular milk. So I think that's also another
protein.
Cow milk?
Ripple.
Which one?
RIPPLE, Ripple.
Ripple.
Yeah. Because
so if you want to suggest one type of milk instead of dairy milk, what is the best alternative for that? Is it Ripple? Is it soy? Is it almond?
What is your need for it? If you're requiring like milk was supposed to be your protein source, then Ripple probably would be good. Soy protein would be good. But other milks do fall kind of low in protein. So they serve the need for the milk, but not exactly the same amount of protein. So if you really concentrate on protein intake, then I think Ripple and soy milks will be good.
And oat milks are creamier. If you are going for taste or texture, oat milks are creamier. I know individuals with dairy allergies or nut especially with nut allergies, children with nut allergies, they may not be able to have almond milk or nut-based milk, but the oat milk, and just like Dr. Shah suggested, Ripple, the milk with pea protein.
Where do you get the Ripple milk?
You can get it. You know what? I have seen it in most of the grocery stores, most of the chain grocery stores, they have Ripple milk.
And what is it made of?
Protein.
What? Peas. Beets.
Sorry? I can put it in the chat if that helps.
Yeah, please.
I think it's all over now.
Yes, I just wanted to thank everybody for joining. And I wish some of us will turn into vegan like I did. So probably, this plant-based diet will be very, very helpful and everybody will be more healthy in their life. Thank you so much.
Change your lifestyle.
Thanks for attending.
Left to
Yes.
follow, and it's really, it's not, you're not gonna repent on going vegan, let me tell you. You just have to put up with that. And there is a positive joy out of becoming vegan. And I have a lot of patients, they come and tell me, just we don't know why, but we feel so joyful. And that, I will tell you, it comes out of subconsciously knowing that you are preventing the violence on the animals. It's connected with your soul. So try it. This is the only diet which is really thinks of compassion, because all other diets, if you look at it, everything involves animal food. Vegan diet is the only one which also brings compassion in your dinner plate. And through this compassion, we can someday, we can bring the world peace. That's why we have the World Vegan Vision. That is our vision for the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shah.
Thank
Thank you, Kalindi ji.
Thank you
very
to
much.
all the
Thank you,
speakers.
everyone.
Dr.
Thank you.
Shanik Shah,
Thank
Dr.
everybody.
Sumanji.
Thank you.
Thank you for arranging.
Hopefully we'll do more of this.
Very much. Yes.
Always watch our website, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you.
We'll see you more often like that. Yeah.